Hi guys, part 2. I just want to back up just a little bit. Now, the guy I was trading my OCs for the white powder, that guy was my plug for the white powder, but also a lifelong friend. I grew up with him. He grew up in the town, the only foster home in my town. I didn't grow up in, a city. I grew up in the sticks, all right, mind you. He was a lifelong friend. And he showed me to make the 1 of 4, told me, how to do it, where to do it. They'd never find out. Just don't go to the same pharmacy twice, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Now, when I decided I like my OCs better than the white stuff because I like the energy I was getting during the day, I didn't like having to stay up all night, blah, blah, blah. He likes the OCs, so the motherfucker turned me in. And then he walked around to my girlfriends that he was the plug for and lifelong friend for, because we all grew up together, and bragged about it and said, look, this is my phone number, blah, 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 blah. I'll show her. And then I was so mad at her for so many years because she still fucked with this dude. Like, I worked in the pizza joint that everybody went to, okay? Everybody knew me. And it's a small town. I mean, I think there was 16 people in my fucking graduating class. You know what I mean? Like, anyways, people still fucked with him, I guess, because, and when I say fucked with him, I mean, like, they were still getting shit from this guy. He's a piece of shit. But anyways, so, where did I leave off? So I got sentenced, and when I met David in detox, I must have got pregnant, like, the first time we ever had sex, because not long after, I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. And we had relapsed, obviously, out of detox, started using again. I'm like, I'm going away. He's from Massachusetts. He would have gotten a slap on the wrist. It's probation. He's not a good candidate for probation, no more. And just walk away. Well, if you're not a good candidate for probation in New Hampshire, you're a lifelong friggin' inmate. New Hampshire is known for this. They don't see this kind of shit. So I went in front of the judge. I just found out I was pregnant like 2 days before. And me and David had this whole plan, my husband, his mother was going to Florida. We bought some stuff on the streets. I forget what it was called, but it was supposed to help us detox. My kids were going to be with my mother. My daughter was going to be with my mother. My oldest son was going to be with his father. We were going to go to his mother's house in Londonderry and kick that weekend. I had court on Thursday. Well, I went to court on Thursday, and bye, Jody. 2 to 4 slam. I'm like, what? Like, I have kids. What? Yeah, she was pissed. This judge was pissed. And I thought, okay, she's trying to scam me. Scam me straight. I've heard of this. She's trying to scam me. The whole way to the friggin' the prison in Goffstown. It was in Goffstown at the time. This bitch is just trying to scam me. Then 6 months in, I'm like, okay, she's not just trying to scam me. She's going to let me out when I have the baby. No, I had James December 20th, C-section, scheduled C-section. I got lots of stories about this prison system. But yeah, and then we will, yeah. Anyways, the husband's downstairs. We've been through a lot, this me and him. So the last he knew, like, I went to prison. I didn't know his family. Like, we had only been together. I went to detox in March. I believe I got pregnant on St. Patrick's Day. All right, because that was the first time we had sex. And then I got sentenced in June 28th, I believe it was. No, May 28th, I got sentenced. And went away. Last he knew, I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I didn't know if the baby was even going to make it. I mean, I was a fucking mess, okay? Didn't know what I was going to do. And James knows that today. My son knows that today. And thank God I didn't do anything stupid. Thank God I went to prison, because I have a healthy, boy right there. Beautiful young man. Hardworking, beautiful young man. But anyways, I'm not saying anything that nobody doesn't already know. I wear my life on my sleeve. I have nothing to hide. Anything I've done, I've said I've done, I've admitted to. Cops, when I used to break the law, the cops never had to investigate. They asked me a question, I fucking answered it. I did it. Now let me, pay my fucking dues. Let me go back to prison or whatever. So anyways, when I got out, the first time I got out, now when James was born, me and my parents talked about it. I said to my parents, you guys just retired. You already have Sulin and JD. What would I do for you? Should I give them up for adoption? No grandchild of mine is going into the system. That's my grandchild. My father came to see me twice when I was in prison. Once alone to come see me. And the second time when I got my GED. But anyways, he said, my father came to see me and he said, we both cried in the visiting room. And he said to me, my dad's not an emotional guy. He was never an emotional guy. He said to me, when you kids were younger, I was never able to enjoy you between working, and he was a drinker, but he worked. Functioning alcoholic is what I call him. He just calls himself a guy like taste of beer. But he said, I never got to enjoy you kids. I'm going to enjoy this one. So you're giving me a gift. And I told my parents that they can name him, and they didn't want to keep him from me. Believe me, my mother, God rest her soul, she came to visit me twice a week with those children, even when I went up to boot camp, because they sent me to boot camp right after James was born, up in Laconia. We were the last military-based female platoon up in Laconia. It was called First Step at the time. We were platoon 37. Hoorah! Anyways, yeah. I don't want to disrespect any military. That was just the thing that we used to say when we would cadence. Anyways, so my mom and dad took James. They had James and Susu. Now, when he was born, me and my mother had a talk. We said, we didn't know. I knew his mother was a lot younger than my mother, my husband's mother. I was scared. I didn't know them. I didn't know if his family was going to come and try to take him away from my parents. I put father unknown on the birth certificate and gave James my maiden last name of Rowe. Now, when I got out, James was 18, just over a year old. Okay, I found David because we didn't know where he was. We didn't know him like that. Only knew him a few months, and I met him in fucking detox. He was from Lowell, Massachusetts. So I found out where he was. He was locked up in Billerica. I put myself on his visiting. I wrote him a letter. Said, put me on your visiting list. I have something to show you and talk about. Will you go there? It's like, hey, it's your son. Now, I don't blame anybody for thinking, was it really? You were with your daughter's father for 9 years. And you met him in detox, my husband now. I was a junkie, but I wasn't like that. I had just started my fucking addiction, at that point. But I don't blame him. I knew who his father was. I know who I have sex with. Okay. And, but I guess his family was a little hesitant on whatever. He had no question about it. But I said, you know what? I want to give him your last name. So we went and we had a paternity test done. He's his. You would never know it. My husband's Portuguese, and our son is a pasty white boy like his mama. He's even whiter than me. He's got crystal blue eyes like sky. Oh, he's so handsome, my James. All my kids are very, very good looking kids. All three of them. My grandbaby. But anyways, yes. We had the paternity test. He changed his last name to Walsh. Now James had been James Rowe. Now, how he got his name. My mom's, it was her best friend. Her brother, though, my Uncle Jim. Great guy. Nickname Cowboy. He had just died. And my father had a son, his firstborn, Jimmy. His name was James. He called him Little Jimmy. He died when he was just an infant. So I told my mom and dad, you can name him. And I knew they would come up with, I knew my mom wanted to name him James, but I said, I don't want him called Jim. Please, no Jim. There's so many Jims in my family, my mom's side of the family. So many. So many Arthurs and Jims. So, yeah, that's how he got his name. That's where we're gonna end right here, and I'll continue as I think of it. Probably not more today because I got a lot of stuff to do around the house. I still gotta, you know, I did my downstairs, my kitchen, and my living room. I still waiting to see what I'm not sure what I want to do, like over the couch on the wall, you know, the main piece on the eye catcher over the wall, over the couch, I mean, on the wall. But my kitchen's done, my living room's done. Now it's moving upstairs. So we're gonna redo my bedroom, the hallway, the bathroom, and then Jesse's room's gonna be last because I did his room last year when he came to live with us, but I want to get bunk beds for in there now until yeah. So peace out, have a great day, till next time.